Thank you all, guests and members. So John and I teamed up on this months ago before AI became the snowball that it is. So I did not put that alphabet soup in there for a reason, because it would be outside the scope of this presentation. But there has been a recent change that made this worth talking about, because do any of you do any kind of keyword searches, try to figure out what people are looking for online when you're doing your marketing? That's all SEO is. You're just trying to find people that are going to look for best burger near me or whatever the topic is. And so the reason this became interesting to me was because of a change recently in a platform that we all know and love. And I'll talk about more about that in a second, but the online landscape has definitely changed. So with that, let's see if this will work. Nikki, am I doing the right thing?
Is it on? Are you pushing the button?
Oh, you know what? I'm hitting the button, but there we go. Yay, it woke up. So the challenge is traditional search is becoming more difficult, and that's partly because of AI. So the opportunity is, instead of us having to go and become SEO experts and try to chase the latest trends, and then with AI changing all the time, there is an opportunity with video, because it's now more small business friendly than ever. And the reason for that is because, so search engine optimization has now become search everywhere optimization, but it's also, when we talk about AI, that's generative search, generative engine optimization. So when you look at, trying to figure out how to rank on an AI search, that's a whole new field. I'm assuming a lot of SEOs are probably clamoring to get good at that. We don't have to go and thunder with the herd, because we have another opportunity that's even more effective for small business owners who don't have time for an extra career. So what's happening because of AI, the marketing had already created a noise level that was just untenable. But now it's getting even more ridiculous, because AI is making it easier for people to take on their own marketing. So it used to be you'd have to hire a digital marketing agency, someone would write a blog for you, they'd do social posts, they'd do an email campaign or an ongoing drip campaign, and that all just became rising noise level. And so for those of you who've worked with me on the StoryBrand stuff, we've talked about how cutting through the noise by clarifying your message makes a difference. And you can see here that it's not getting better, it's getting worse. So our ability to consume information is down here, and this hockey stick is the avalanche of more information that we're getting just deluged with. And so that's the gap right there. And that's what we end up having, something like this. So this is from a guy, he's the modern day Dilbert of digital marketing. So yeah, take a read at that, and I'll wait till the chuckles subside. But that's the reality, right? Like we're just sitting here overwhelmed, and it's like, how do I cope with this? I'm gonna use the robot to talk to your robot, and your robot turned out a term paper, and my robot's gonna summarize it for me, because we all just want the executive summary. And so that's the reality, is like it's a circular firing squad.
Just use the arrows on the keypad. There we go.
But I wanted the gizmo. I want to use a technology. It's like an AI.
Use the laser pointer.
Yeah. It's like a sniper. Oh, we're gonna do shadow puppets next. So, yeah. Hey, I need a nerd. Can you whisper one up here? So in 2007, Google, that was like, since 2000-ish, it was like all the rage. Like it was mind-blowing how we were able to find stuff online more effectively than ever, because we just needed to know the right search query. We'd go to google.com and type in, how do I market my business? Or, what's the latest blog post in my industry? And we could find things that were pretty straightforward. There weren't a lot of ads. There wasn't other stuff taking that space. But now, when we look at today, AI has taken that prime real estate. You're going to see some videos, and it depends on whether you're looking at desktop or mobile. Every screen size has a different look and feel. But for the most part, those organic search results that people spent all that time and money ranking for are now on page 2 at best, maybe page 3 and beyond. So that's the shift. But we don't have to be dismayed by the fact that it's harder than ever to rank on traditional search results because we have an opportunity now with another platform. So you see Google still dominates despite all the AI, all the things that are changing. This is the latest from, I think it was early this year. They still own like 90% of the market. And that's changing. Go ahead.
Does that equate they're the best, or that's just where everybody goes?
It's volume. I wouldn't say it's the most quality searches anymore because they're trying to do AI like everybody else, but it's still the 800-pound gorilla. So what now? How do we adapt to this? So marketing has changed, it's evolved, it's decentralized and nonlinear, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. But video is an underutilized medium, so that's still an opportunity. It will get saturated like everything else. Email got abused, even fax machines got abused when they first came out. So it's all gonna happen, just people chase technology. And then when you look at cumulative watch time, it builds trust and authority. So you've heard John Williams and me talk about how people work with people they know, like, and trust. And establishing that online is really hard, but video helps us break through that barrier. So here's the opportunity. Did anybody see this coming? YouTube? Okay. And the reason for that is because Google, I showed you that big graph. I think YouTube is in there, otherwise they wouldn't have the 90%. Yeah, I was thinking that too, Tamara. So when I looked at that, I was like, that's got to include YouTube because they own YouTube and Google's the #1 search engine, but guess who's #2? So the reason that YouTube is now an opportunity for us is because of changes in their algorithm. They are now rewarding small channels. In the past, up until this year, to make money from YouTube, you had to get monetized, which meant you had to have 1,000 subscribers or more, and you had to have so many view hours and so many click-throughs and all that. And so that required usually about a year of consistent effort of creating and posting a video every week or even more frequently. And it was a long slog and a long grind, and there was no guarantee that you would ever get monetized. So you'd watch a video on YouTube and people are always like, hey, like and subscribe and share and help the algorithm find me and all this stuff. So they're basically begging for people to let them get monetized. So now, because of the changes that YouTube has made, they're not going after the massive channels that have thousands or tens of thousands of subscribers. They're now rewarding quality content, and if you do consistent posts and you have quality content, people will take notice because Google will reward you. And that's because the algorithm will now change and do that. Randy, go ahead.
You need to find what quality content
We'll talk about that in a minute, but thank you for asking it.
So I overheard a content creator whom I recommend often, JT O'Donnell with Work It Daily to job seekers that are looking for jobs. I overheard her speak on a podcast yesterday or the day before. I haven't validated this yet, but she was saying that TikTok in the last couple of weeks has now created a fund to actually reward content creators who are subject matter experts, and you can be compensated directly by TikTok to educate people about your space. And it's a game changer because everyone in this room now has the ability to earn income by you speaking about brokering businesses, by you speaking about IT, by you speaking about banking, by you speaking of healthcare insurance for employers. You can now be your own SME, and supposedly TikTok has a fund to find those people who will actually pay you to create content because they want valuable quality content on their website, so it attracts people to learn about what they want to learn about on their website. So whether YouTube will follow suit, but I haven't validated that yet, but that's what I heard from JT O'Donnell. She says, and she's so funny, she's on TV. She goes, and this girl's on the game, like saying she's already doing it. And she's really tied into LinkedIn and some YouTube stuff. So I think it's probably true. I'm excited to learn about it.
So I don't have to take dancing classes anymore?
You just start dating?
Yeah, that's what TikTok was, right? You had to if you didn't dance, you weren't going to show up on TikTok. And so it sounds like they're following YouTube because it's like they're monetizing channels or creators.
But they're paying individually you to educate, create,
Yeah.
and they'll say, you're hired.
And that's what YouTube has done for years, is that's how you would get monetized, is creating enough content where people would subscribe and it would snowball. And then at some point, getting monetized meant you had enough of an audience where YouTube would pay you because they would run ads in your video feed, and you would have some selection on where those ads might pop up in your video, but you had no control over what ad.
It's a slog.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, or it was. So the good news now is there are businesses that are making six figures because they're getting leads from their YouTube channel. They're not getting thousands of subscribers. They're not getting monetized by YouTube. They're getting leads for their business through YouTube channel content. So part of that is because YouTube has 239 million users in the US alone, 2.7 billion actively globally, 68% watch videos to make purchase decisions, and this one blew me away. Over 75% of Fortune 500 execs watch videos online videos regularly. I don't know what they're watching, but anyway. They're probably in the boardroom making people think they're working, but they're not. And here's a few more data points. So the reason it's worth the effort is because of the shelf life. So with other social platforms, it's got a quick sugar rush hit and it's gone. But with YouTube, if you have something that's informational or educational, like you're educating your clients, that stuff has staying power. And if you have it on a YouTube channel, it will get discovered by more people. Higher buyer intent than TikTok or Instagram. That's one of the criticisms of all these influencers and these people that have like tons of viewers and followers. They're not able to monetize unless they sell ads. So when they're hired by other companies to kind of promote their brand, there's not always an ROI there. They don't always convert to buyers. So they chase views for nothing. And then YouTube grows organically without having to pay for ads. So as these people that spend all that time and money with organic SEO search that's now falling under their feet, they're either going to have to do more ad revenue or more ad spend or find other channels. So that's why we have an advantage right now with YouTube. And then the marketers that use video grow revenue 49% faster than non-video. So social still matters, but you notice YouTube is number 2 behind Facebook, not by far. And that's interesting because YouTube's a unique animal. It is a search engine and a social platform, and it is really the original video channel. Facebook and everybody else kind of jumped on the video bandwagon when YouTube got popular, but they still own that market, although Facebook has a lot of followers now. But I was looking through this, I was like, I didn't know what that was. Do you guys know what that is? It's pronounced Douyin, and it's the Chinese version of TikTok. And we've heard about how their TikTok is way different than our TikTok. But like you said, Jason, they're changing that in the US, it sounds like, maybe because of political pressures, I don't know. But it sounds like they're trying to get more educational and less propaganda, dancing videos and all that stuff. But yeah, that's the Chinese TikTok, and they are very educational. So the reason that this is a big deal is Google's not really transparent about their algorithm, but this is one tidbit they threw out to everybody recently that really makes a difference. So the 7-11-4 rule means that people have to spend 7 hours looking at your content. They have to see it across 11 different platforms, or 11 touch points across different platforms, and it has to be 4 separate locations. So that would be like YouTube, Google, Facebook, Instagram, maybe an email. So Google is tracking all of this interaction, and they went away from the keywords and backlinks foundation for SEO to now engagement. So they're looking for people that are engaging with your content, and they're measuring it across multiple platforms. So the question is, do you hire a professional like John Williams to do your videos, or do you do your own? And we say yes to both, because there's, like everything, there's an 80-20 rule. And it's just, most people, unless they've got like a staff or it's a large company or a mid-sized company, they probably don't have the resources to have a video crew come in every time they have a new idea. So we're going to show you why there's a reason for both. And that's where Mr. Williams will speak from the screen.
Right now, your biggest competitor just posted a video that's getting a whole lot of views, while your company stays invisible online. So if you're not using video to tell your story, someone else is telling it for you. Elevate your brand image with the power of video, because bad video can be worse than no video at all. Right now, your competitor just posted a video that's getting a whole lot of views, while your company stays invisible online. So if you're not using video to tell your story, someone else is telling your story for you. So elevate your brand image with the power of video, because bad video is worse than no video at all. All right, my B2B friends, this is just a really quick example to show you the difference between do-it-yourself video using your phone and a more professional setup. DIY with your phone works perfectly well. I have no problems with it at all, and there are a lot of reasons why you should actually start with video for yourself, not hire someone like me. I hate to say it. This is what I do for a living, but at the same time, it's not always the right choice for you and for your company to hire a professional, whether it's me or anybody else. I don't care. A professional video versus a DIY video is going to separate you in the sense that it's going to elevate your brand. It's going to elevate your image. It's going to sound good. It's going to look good. It's just going to give you that little extra polish that you need to make your business and your profession stand out from your competition. Now, the DIY video, what does that do? Well, that gives you the opportunity to really make a connection with your clients in a way that a professional video can't. I mean, if you have to always call somebody up every time you have an idea and record it, that could be really expensive, number one. Number two, it just doesn't make sense from a time perspective, because you're talking about getting 1 or 2 people in a minimum and setting up things like lights and cameras and audio just to make it happen, just to record it. But if you can pull out your phone and record it, then that's great. It gets that idea out of your brain and into the world so that you can build that connection with your clients. So what is a way that you can make a DIY video be a little bit better looking and better for you? Well, the first thing that I would suggest that you do, in all honesty, is to invest a little bit of money into a small microphone that connects to your phone. Why is that? I was told a long time ago that people will sit through a very bad looking video with good audio, but they won't sit through a very good looking video with bad audio. Right now, your biggest competitor just posted a video that's getting a whole lot of views, while your company stays invisible online. Right now, your biggest competitor just posted a video that's getting a whole lot of views, while your company stays invisible online. Audio is incredibly important. It's very foundational to video. So please, please, please fix that, because you don't want to have things like an air compressor, going off in the background, somebody mowing, dogs barking, road traffic, that kind of a thing. Maybe move inside. Maybe give yourself a little bit of a light. Little things like that to plus your video go a long way. But it still gives you the power to be able to just pull out your phone, say your message, and then put it on your social media feed to connect with your clients in the way that works for your business. I hope this helps you a little bit to show the differences between a more professional setup and a DIY setup. Again, I don't personally think there's anything wrong with a DIY setup, and I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with a more professional setup. But there are advantages to both, especially when you consider that DIY is budget friendly and quick and easy. And a professional setup, it looks really good, but it takes a lot more energy and effort to do and to make happen. I mean, just this quick setup in here, quick setup. It took me 30 to 45 minutes to get everything set up. The thing that we shot in the backyard, we literally did that in like 10 seconds. I hope this helps in some small way. Thank you so much, my B2B friends.
That's why I don't do video. I let him do it. So when you think, oh my gosh, when do I put the money into a professional like John, somebody that come in and do the, Tamara, you've done it. You've brought people from Atlanta, right? So she invested in a crew from Atlanta to come and, you went to Atlanta, they came here. It's like she's done some definite legitimate work. Jason hired us for an event he did. He does a lot of his own videos. He's kind of the OG video guy in our group because he's got over 90, right? 90 videos now.
I hate doing them.
Yeah, and that's part of my
I hate
problem.
being on video.
Yeah, which,
But there's like a ton of videos that you could do, and I think about them all the time, but good intentions really don't get videos done.
Yeah.
Do you hate it? Have you seen yourself on video?
I don't enjoy it.
So some of you don't do it. I hate seeing them on video, but.
what's that called?
I said I hate seeing them.
So feeling the love. So yeah, when I do headshots for my clients, they're like, I hate getting my picture taken. I'm like, I know, but I love working with people who are humble like that, because if you love yourself so much, I don't want to work with you. So the reason you want to invest, even if it's just one time, like if it's your company commercial, if it's something that's going to be on your website, it's going to be around for years, it's worth the investment to have that one be professionally done. Then the mix is whenever you've got something, timely, top of mind, social posts, something like that, it probably doesn't make sense to hire a crew for that unless you're going to do a batch. You maybe have somebody come in for a half day and knock a bunch out. So John and I did some work for a client of mine where we did that exact thing, where we created some brand videos for his website, but we also did some social snippets based on that. So kind of killed two birds with one stone on that. But in the interim, like John said, get a good mic. I mean, if you can do a little bit of lighting, like maybe a beauty light or something, even if you're sitting at your desk, like Jason, you got a pretty good setup. Yours looks pretty good, and your audio is decent. So you've invested some in yours, right?
Not in any lighting, it's the microphone,
Yeah.
not it.
Well,
I
yeah.
haven't done the clip-on mic thing yet, so that's kind of interesting.
You probably don't need that if you're sitting at your desk. You probably get a boom mic or something. Alan?
Question?
John,
Yes.
do you help set up cameras at my desk when I'm doing
Like
Zoom?
webcam kind of a thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I can help advise
Lights.
you with that, absolutely.
Yeah, but like tell me the kind of lights that I need to get because it never looks good.
Yeah, we can certainly have a conversation about that, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, so just making your, the lighting, so you're not silhouetted or just like some shadowy face or something. That's nice, yeah. Yeah, you hate to blind yourself, so you can't really see your screen, but it's got to have a balance. So that's what we're saying is like, invest in the video that's going to elevate your brand, but you want to have a presence online, and the best way to do that is social posts. YouTube now is a great opportunity. So if you don't want to become a YouTube star, you can at least do something that's good enough. And so, yes, Charlotte.
Well, and I spent a little time doing trial and error at my own house of where the best quality is. So I did some, at my desk in front of where that's set up, but then I moved to another room and tried a couple of different setups before I found one that I really like the light. Like this is several months into making them. But now I know if I go to that place about that time of day, lower the shades, X, Y, Z, it just makes it so much quicker to know that I'm in a good place with good light.
Yeah.
And the lavalier mic too.
Yeah. Yeah, your videos, you did a nice job.
Just kind of trial and error for a while
Yeah.
until I found a place that seemed to have pretty good lighting.
So you got to make sure it's a sunny day, close the blinds, no thunder, no air conditioner going off. And that's the great thing about a mic is it'll once I hit my mic, sorry John, it's going to come up in the edit. As the microphone is able to focus more on your voice and not so much on the background noise, and it depends on the technology of the mic, but John can tell you more about that. It's certainly a whole different topic. But that's the mix. So you can do your own videos, just make them sound good, like John said, and if the lighting is decent, you're probably okay. And you don't have to break the bank and hire a crew to come in every time. Wow. So that was an abrupt end of the show.
Hit unplug?
I don't know.
Unplug and plug back in the HDMI cord.
I timed out. Todd, where's the slot to put another quarter in your laptop here? Yay! Just your aura coming this way made it like.
It scared it.
Yeah, he's a nerd at heart. All right, so Jason, you asked about best practices, or was that Randy? Who asked about the best practices?
Yeah, well, how do you determine what's quality video
Yeah.
that is going to get ranked higher?
I love it. So these are now based on the latest changes with YouTube's algorithm. that are now SMB friendly for 2025. If your title, thumbnail, video structure, and your next video are all in place, you will rank better on YouTube. You will get more traction out of it. And so,
What's video structure on that?
yeah, we're gonna get there. Thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't leave you hanging with just
I'm
like,
leaving the witness.
there's your bullet points. Good luck. Hope it works out for you. So, you got taglines down. You could do this. How hard could it be? So the title is really important. Just like an email subject line, a news story headline, no one's going to read it if they don't have an interest in what they saw for the headline. So you gotta get them with something that's interesting. And those of you who've worked with me on your story brand stuff, you know we're going to start with
The problem.
Amen. Charlotte's got it. So if you hook them with the problem, they're more likely to see that as interesting. Yes, sir.
As an example of that, is that why you see YouTube people making this weird face? Yeah, they have this like confused look on their face on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a good point. So the hook in the title is it needs to be searchable and discoverable. So searchable, this is still traditional keyword search. This is SEO stuff. That has not changed. So you still want to have words that will resonate. Recruitment advertising. They may not even know that exists, but finding candidates, filling jobs, whatever those keywords are, you want that to be in the title of your video. And you've got a bunch of videos that have great titles for different things that you talk about. So we've talked about that. We've talked about optimizing your stuff. So you know what I'm talking about there. And then discoverable. This is the new thing with 2025. This is what has changed. YouTube is now letting smaller channels show up on the homepage. They're letting little guys into the party. Because in the past, you had to have a ton of views, a lot of subscribers to even show up on a general YouTube page. And now, because of this algorithm change, you can show up in those if you have discoverable content. And there's a whole topic about the algorithm, about how they score that. But just know that the first 5 to 10 seconds are crucial. So here's that thumbnail thing we were talking about. So I think I have a slide to talk about in a second, but the first 5 to 10 seconds of your video are crucial. I've seen graphs where viewers like drop off if they don't see something in that first, just a few seconds. It's almost like the hook and the headline. They need to be consistent. They need to match so that people think that they see what they think they're going to see when they read your hook, your title, they click on it. It needs to reinforce that and keep them interested. Alan?
So grabbing attention, do they just say, oh, you've been here for 10 seconds, that grabbed your attention, or does the camera read your face?
Oh, because they'll click off. Yeah, when they bounce. It's all about time on page and view. They call it view duration, and so it's just a whole algorithm thing. But yeah, they know because you're bouncing, because you're basically like hitting the back button or you're going to another video. You're not watching that video. And the reason YouTube cares about that is they want to serve you ads, unless you've got premium, and you don't get ads. But anyway, that's why they're incentive. What's that?
It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I can go back to standard YouTube anymore. So yeah, those are the two things that are crucial with your title. You want it to be searchable and discoverable. Now, if someone doesn't know to search for you, we want them to be presented with they didn't even know you existed. Now they're like, oh, that looks interesting. I had no idea, because I found a guy that same way who I watch a lot of his videos now because he talks about digital marketing, and he's the one that had a video about these changes in YouTube. And that's the whole reason this video or this topic came up. So to your point about the thumbnails, so if it's auto-generated, it'll probably look bad. It probably grabs the worst facial expression. You may not look the most flattering, but have you guys ever heard of Neil Patel? Yeah, so he's kind of a big deal in all this digital marketing stuff. So he was on probably a blog or a podcast with this guy. And so you can see how putting some sort of a headline on the thumbnail is also important. So it doesn't have to reiterate the title, but it needs to also catch someone's attention by intriguing them into thinking like, oh, that's interesting. And usually, if we start with the problem, it'll be more interesting, and it'll be more likely to cause people to be interested enough to click on it.
That all takes work though. Everything John's talking about is not for the faint of heart. You got to do all this work.
Yeah, it's not.
But it gets quicker the more you do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's it, we're paid for my.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is once you it's like building, tooling up the factory. Like once you get the workflow, the hardest one is the first couple of widgets, and it's like, yeah, you hit your stride, and you're like, okay. And you can use things like Canva. I mean, you could use PowerPoint if you wanted to, if you could export the file into your video, but you don't have to learn Adobe Illustrator just to do graphics.
I honestly bet you AI can do that somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming on that'll do that, yeah. And the challenge there is it'll start looking like everybody else. So, yeah, if you do it the old-fashioned way, you have a little more creative control. But even I think Canva now has their own AI stuff. So yeah, that's basically that's thumbnails. So they need to be clear, bold, and understandable. So everybody's like scanning; they're not going to read. So you want it to be really eye-catching, very short and sweet. And did Randy ask about video structure? I think that was your question. So here it is. First 5 to 10 seconds are crucial. That's the hook. Got to make it punchy and relevant. You can do things like top 3 things about selling your business. And you could use AI. I'll show you the prompt here in a minute because we got to throw AI in there. It's not a legitimate discussion, right? And so you can use stories. I think as a story brand guy, I love stories. I think they're very interesting. And if you can weave that in there, that's fantastic. And then here's the place where a lot of people miss a golden opportunity. If your video follows this structure where it's interesting and it follows, it matches the promise of the title, and people are getting what they thought they would when they saw that and they clicked on it and they've watched it to the end, you want to then, if you have other videos, this is the guy that I follow a lot. He is just like bingeable because you just can't stop watching the guy because he'll talk about something, and instead of saying, hey, like and subscribe and all the usual stuff that YouTube people say, he's like, and that's why this next video talks about how to solve that. So he leaves it with an open-ended kind of a, well, there's still this other thing, and then he points to his next video, and I've spent hours watching this guy because it's just like, it's viral, it's crazy. So if you do that and you segue to your next related topic, it keeps the engagement, and the algorithm will reward you, and you'll rank higher.
And how do you embed that or put the next video?
When you go to post your videos on YouTube, which is a whole different topic we can talk about, there's settings that you go in there and you would have, if you created your thumbnail or you've got other videos, hopefully they have a thumbnail, you put that in this part of the upload platform, and it allows you to point to it. Yeah, John?
John, I think of YouTube as being primarily, or maybe historically, being a B2C platform.
Yes.
But it sounds like they're transforming into B2B. True?
I think there's always been both elements, but yeah, you're probably right. It has been consumer grade for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think now especially they're rewarding more businesses.
Okay, so they're making the transformation. So all businesses need to start thinking about this as a platform built for them.
Right. Like just yesterday I was researching like how to spray for bugs. So I went to YouTube and I looked for like, what's the best pesticide? And there were a couple of channels that came up, and this guy was talking about, well, here's the stuff I use as a professional, and you can get it as a consumer. You just can't spray it for other people without a license. And I was like, that's the stuff I want. So I didn't go Google it.
I don't want to live next door to you.
Yeah. Yeah, if I come back with some 30 years.
Dangerous enough.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I did the same thing with weed killer. I was like, yeah, give me the stuff that they have the lawsuits about. Yeah, I need that. The good stuff. Yeah. Thankfully, I don't spray it every day. Yeah. It's my business to make your bugs somebody else's problem. So that's the last piece. So when we talk about those 4 elements, that's the part that a lot of people don't have. Either they don't have videos in their library yet that they can refer to, or they just don't know to do this. But that's the magic sauce right there. So here's Nikki's famous, she gets to show up twice in 2 months. So, so Charlotte, you'd see similar stuff like this when you're uploading it. You'll see some of the back end stuff here. But what I wanted to show you here is that transcripts are auto-generated by Google, and they are SEO searchable. So even if you're not going in and like doing optimizations on your headlines and everything else, you still have a chance, if your content is good, that Google or YouTube or whatever algorithm is searching for this will find those keywords, and it'll still get discovered. So here's your AI prompt of the day. So if you're like, I have no idea where to start, like what videos would I create for my stuff? This one, I ran it through I went through ChatGPT and it came up with an okay. I didn't optimize the prompt, but I just tried this verbatim with my own stuff in there, and it did okay. It gave me 10 suggestions, and I liked about 5, 6 of them. Some of them are like, I don't think I would bother with that. But this at least gives you a running start, that's what we should be using AI for, right? Is to prime the pump, not to replace us. So I like to not start from a blank page, but rather have AI do something that I can edit and tweak. And we should do that with all of our content. We should not just copy paste. We should put it in our own voice and make it our own. So that's our AI. Yes, ma'am.
Will you address the length? You said 10 to 15 minutes for those, but what is considered short video and long, and what's the benefit of each?
Yeah, it's a great point. So was that the 10 to 15 minutes? Did I say that somewhere?
Yeah, at the bottom of that last slide, just before the AI post, the AI prompt.
Right here. Oh, okay. Yeah, so your video, they recommend 10 to 15 minutes in length, and that's because YouTube likes to sell more ads, and so they reward, they call it long form video. Okay. And then there's also YouTube Shorts, there's stories, they're all trying to keep up with TikTok and Instagram, and so there's all sorts of other formats and lengths, durations, and some recent changes just happened. For the client that John and I did the videos for, I trained his staff how to do their own video uploads so that they could be their own ad agency and not have to hire somebody like me. And so the thing that changed while we were training was that YouTube Shorts went from 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So she uploaded this video and I was like, wait, why is that YouTube Short? And I was like, I had to go researching, like, why did this happen? And so it's always changing. So you just have to kind of keep tabs on it. But if you do something 10 to 15 minutes long, they consider that long form. And that will definitely show up on YouTube. It will not be a YouTube Short, or stories are no good. Stories have a shelf life of 24 hours and then they're gone. So unless you have something that you're just wanting to get it off your chest, or you want to say something that's very timely and topical, and you don't care that it's going to be gone in 24 hours, you could do a story, but I prefer not to waste our time on that.
Fun story, yeah.
They call it a YouTube story. I think they're trying to keep up with Snapchat, because Snapchat got famous because your video could be viewed once and then theoretically they said it was gone, but they lied and they were archiving it and they were mining data and all that. So I think that's where stories came from, was trying to be that quick, Mission Impossible, this video will self-destruct after you watch it kind of thing. So I don't even mess with them. But yeah, shorts are good, long form's better, especially if it's something you want to stick around for a while and have some shelf life. And then here are our QR codes to our websites. If you have any questions, you can go there, you can check our stuff out, you can request, you can book a call with us, or John, we don't have that set up on yours yet, do we? Not yet. Okay. We're still working on it. You can book a call with mine if you want, or just reach out to John, either one of us. But that's our story, and we're sticking to it. Thank you.
I'm only asking that for how much work do we need to put in to make it worth our while? Think about your own space. Think about your own videos. Think about your own taglines. Like, John's got Medicare for employers. Now that is a tagline of all taglines. Joe for your dough. Our business, your business. You can own something that's unique to you. All right, I'm done talking. I'm brainstorming out loud, just trying to figure out this YouTube, searchable, making marketing videos.
And we could do another topic on AI stuff that I use, because there's one called Perplexity that's kind of interesting, They have a pro version. You have to subscribe. I mean, Todd, you got like 5 AIs, don't you? You got a bunch of use. Yeah. But this one is, even the free version gives you 3 pro searches per day. And what I like about it is it'll go out and scour FAQs, discussion boards, Reddit, all the organic discussions that are happening kind of peer-to-peer. And it will give you the exact words that people are using, the phrases, what they're searching for. And I found that to be useful in some cases. It doesn't scour everything, but it gives you enough to save you having to go do it manually. So, for what it's worth. But that's why I did not put AI in this title. I did not want to go down that slippery slope. That's a whole different animal. But thank you, Alan.
Thank you.